Have you seen those little whisper things that people get who are just on the edge of going completely deaf, where you hear something? I'm going to get you one of those.
You think it's me?
Yeah. I think you're losing it.
Johnny Carson spent 3 decades owning late-night television like nobody else ever could. He knew how to rescue a dead interview, flip awkward silence into laughs, and make even the dullest guest look legendary in real time. The man controlled the room, the rhythm, and the energy every single night. Most nights, The Tonight Show ran smooth like clockwork, but not everyone played by the rules. A handful of guests pushed boundaries, ignored the unspoken code, and turned Johnny's calm stage into straight tension.
Jumped in a car, and I drove over to NBC. And I walked into his office, and he was there with his producer, and whom I had known for a lot of years. And so I said to his producer, "Would you excuse us, please?" I confronted him, and he turned pale. I told him what my intentions were. He wouldn't get up, and so I smacked him.
You really hit him?
Yeah.
Wow. Like, how hard did you hit him?
Would you like to see?
No, I don't want to see. You really hit him, but...
I smacked him open-handed, you know.
Okay.
Because I was so fed up with it.
Today, we're breaking down the 10 personalities Johnny Carson reportedly could not stand. One name that exploded behind the scenes was Wayne Newton. Johnny cracked jokes about Wayne for years, digging into his hair, his outfits, and even throwing slick comments about his masculinity. Wayne didn't laugh it off. He took it personal, and it sat heavy. Things boiled over fast. Wayne allegedly stormed into the Tonight Show studio, fists clenched, energy wild, ready to confront Johnny face to face. No knock, no warning, just straight pressure. According to reports, Wayne said it directly to Johnny.
You know, when I tried to talk about my book in the hardcover, you said $18.95, you know, that's a lot of money for a book. And I said it's my whole life.
I thought it was.
And you said, you know, maybe if it's Mother Teresa's life, you know.
You remember those things, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I didn't know you were that sensitive. You actually remember that.
I'm so sensitive, I really can't answer a question from someone who's not interested in the question.
I'm very interested in the question. Now, what?
Carson, usually calm even when cameras were off, didn't entertain the chaos. The moment things turned physical, Johnny called security immediately. Guards rushed in within a minute, dragging Wayne out as stunned producers watched it all unfold. After that night, NBC didn't play around. Internal memos reportedly circulated Wayne Newton's photo with strict orders, banned from the building, no exceptions. Every reference to Wayne was scrubbed from scripts that same night. No debate, no mercy. Johnny Carson was livid. Someone had crossed a line on his stage, in his house, and that was something Johnny did not forgive. The decision was instant and final. Wayne was permanently banned. No second chances, no quiet comeback. During Carson's entire 30-year run, Wayne never stepped foot in that studio again. Johnny stayed tight-lipped publicly, refusing interviews about the incident for years. That was his style, cool, controlled, and surgical. But behind the scenes, staff whispered that Johnny kept the security tape locked in his desk drawer, not out of fear, but as a reminder. Even Vegas royalty couldn't pressure the king of late night. Then there was Charles Grodin.
It started out with $9.95, then this would have been $4.60 by now. But I suppose the thing is to get it when you can.
Are you whispering again?
Oh, no, you said I'm whispering last time.
Yeah, you talk very softly for me. I don't know why.
Are you hearing me?
This is what you sound like.
Okay. You're talking. You made a book, $9.95. Why is that? I think so.
Have you seen those little whisper things that people get who are just on the edge of going completely deaf, where you hear something? I'm going to get you one of those.
You think it's me?
Yeah. I think you're losing it.
Well, maybe it is me, and now you want to know why I mistreat you.
That's right. Now people don't understand when you come out here.
Known for arrogance, Charles built his whole persona around disrespecting talk show rules. He mocked the format, talked over hosts, and pushed buttons on purpose. With Johnny, he took it further, constantly baiting him into visible frustration on live TV. Carson hated that, not the jokes, but being forced to show emotion he couldn't control. Charles would argue with him mid-interview, dragging tension into the open. Johnny stayed sharp, but the irritation showed. The infamous 1982 appearance sealed it. Grodin showed up smirking, refused to talk about his new book, and instead launched into a rant aimed straight at Johnny over criticizing the book's price. The vibe turned icy fast. Johnny's jaw tightened. His replies got clipped, defensive, irritated. Producers panicked, waving frantically and cutting to commercial early. Backstage, Johnny reportedly snapped. "I book him to promote a film, and he turns it into a therapy session about my manners," he told staff. Message received. That antagonistic style kept turning Grodin's appearances into pressure-filled moments that made everyone uneasy. The tension wasn't clever anymore, it was exhausting. At times, it even landed him on temporary booking freezes. Grodin fed off discomfort, but Johnny fed off control. And once Carson felt the show slipping from his grip, those appearances became pointless to him. Then there was Dean Martin.
How you been, Joey?
Hello. Good to see you.
How'd all these people get in your room? I know you're going to ask me a question.
I'm going to ask
Bernie.
you a question.
Well, you go ahead, Bernie.
Did you,
You know, at home, this desk looks bigger.
It is bigger at home.
Dean's drinking was supposed to be part of the act, something playful that made crowds laugh. But during his Tonight Show appearances in the 70s, that line between performance and reality got real blurry. Dean showed up with a drink in hand, words slurred, stories drifting, questions slipping past him. What felt charming on his own variety show suddenly felt awkward on Johnny's stage. Carson tried to roll with it, keep the rhythm tight, but the timing kept falling apart. Dean interrupted segments, wandered toward the band, and sometimes forgot which movie he was even there to promote. Behind the scenes, staff padded extra time into the schedule because Dean was unpredictable. During a 1978 appearance, things went sideways fast. Dean made an off-color remark about a female guest that stopped the room cold. Johnny's face said it all. Pure panic. He cut straight to commercial. Censors flagged multiple moments. The audience laughed, but it was nervous laughter. Unsure if any of this was supposed to be funny. After taping, Johnny vented hard. "I can't work like this. It's not funny anymore," he reportedly said. After that, Dean's booking slowed way down. His image as a pro took a hit. Carson ran his show on timing, focus, and control, and once that cracked, so did the invite list. Martin's drunk act, whether real or exaggerated, was simply too messy for late-night television. The Tonight Show thrived on precision, rhythm, and timing, and Dean brought straight chaos. Johnny built a machine that ran clean every night, and Dean's unpredictability jammed the gears. That clash made his appearances more stressful than entertaining. Then came Uri Geller.
Well, we're going to come back in a minute. I'd like to talk about your special.
I have a special?
It's coming up Sunday. This Sunday.
Oh, is it? They actually put that thing together?
Long before fame, a young Johnny Carson practiced card tricks alone in his Nebraska bedroom. Magic fascinated him, but deception irritated him. So, when Geller's psychic reputation exploded, Johnny invited him on in 1974 with a plan. He wanted proof, not hype. Johnny stacked the deck carefully. He introduced sealed canisters, a stone compass, and props Geller had never touched before. Geller walked out confident, flashing that famous grin, ready to impress. Johnny calmly asked him to read text sealed inside thick envelopes. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Geller stalled, bragged, and made excuses. The room went quiet in the worst way possible. The audience didn't laugh. They waited. Johnny stayed patient. Then he handed over the silverware. Geller squeezed, stared, focused hard, but nothing bent. Johnny raised an eyebrow and said nothing. That silence hit harder than any joke. Geller blamed everything except himself. Fatigue, energy, the room, the pressure. He refused to admit failure. The segment dragged on for 20 painful minutes. Producers decided immediately he would never be booked again.
I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you're going to ask me.
Well, I can ask you all kinds of questions if you'd like me to ask you questions.
I have to have time, and give me a little more time.
All right. We'll cut away from a commercial, and I will verify, and everybody in the studio will verify that nobody will touch the objects.
Carson later told staff Geller exposed himself on live television. No tricks, no attack, just reality. Johnny didn't embarrass him. He let the moment speak. Then there was Chevy Chase. Chevy made a fatal mistake in 1978. He confused fame with immunity. His first Tonight Show visit went smooth. Respectful laughs, light banter, the kind of debut that earns repeat invites. But by his second appearance, Saturday Night Live had made him a star, and stardom made him reckless. He strutted on stage like he owned the room. Within minutes, he was flexing box office numbers and comparing his career path to Johnny's. That wasn't confidence. That was disrespect, and Johnny Carson never let that slide. The audience laughed, but it wasn't relaxed laughter. It was nervous, unsure laughter. Johnny's smile stayed frozen, locked in place. Then Chevy crossed the line nobody crosses. He joked that NBC needed fresh blood at 11:30, clearly hinting that he could step in whenever Johnny got tired. The room shifted instantly. Crew members in the wings exchanged looks. Johnny's pencil started tapping the desk, slow, steady, deliberate. Staff knew that sound meant trouble was brewing. Chevy kept pushing, completely oblivious. He talked over Johnny's questions, hijacked every moment, and steered the conversation right back to himself. He even bragged that he could out-golf and out-host the man whose chair he was sitting in. By the time they cut to commercial, the damage was already done. Backstage after the taping, Johnny didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. He pulled producer Peter LaSalle aside and made one thing crystal clear. Nobody jokes about replacing him. Not on his stage, not in front of his audience. From that moment on, Chevy was quietly added to the list of guests who wore out their welcome. Future bookings became rare, tightly controlled, and heavily scripted. The easy back and forth was gone. Johnny never forgot that moment. In private, Carson warned his staff that some bridges don't get rebuilt. Once crossed, they stay burned.
I grew up with you, listened to your music, in high school and so forth. It just occurred to me, crazy thought this afternoon, when you're in a romantic mood, and you're trying to make out, whose records do you put on?
Then there was Frank Sinatra. Johnny's relationship with Sinatra was complicated from day one. Power plays, big personalities, and off-camera tension kept Carson cautious. Sinatra had influence and wasn't shy about using it. He'd storm onto the stage unannounced during breaks, wrecking Johnny's carefully planned flow. One infamous night in 1976, Sinatra walked out mid-taping, sat beside the scheduled guest, and took over with stories. Johnny smiled for the cameras, but inside, he was boiling. Control room staff scrambled as the segment fell apart. After the show, Carson laid down rules. Sinatra appearances required advanced planning and strict boundaries. Even then, Sinatra's unpredictability kept Johnny on edge. There was mutual respect, two kings in one room, but also caution. Johnny never fully trusted Sinatra not to hijack the show. From the outside, Johnny Carson's encounters with Joan Rivers ended polite. But underneath, everything was guarded and cold. Joan wasn't just another guest. For years, she was Johnny's golden chair filler, the rare comedian who could step in seamlessly when he took nights off. She understood his rhythm. She respected his authority. She delivered laughs without ever stepping on his toes. Johnny didn't just support her. He discovered her. He mentored her, guided her, and gave her the breaks that transformed her from a struggling comic into a household name. Joan appeared on The Tonight Show more than almost anyone. She became the most trusted guest host in the building. That's what made what happened next feel unforgivable to Johnny. In 1986, Joan accepted a late-night hosting job at Fox. She signed the contract quietly. She agreed to compete directly against Johnny, and she never called him first. Johnny didn't hear it from her. He found out through industry whispers and a Variety headline. No warning, no explanation, no phone call. To Carson, that wasn't business. It was betrayal. He believed she never properly explained herself, never truly apologized. In his eyes, this was disloyalty at the highest level. The woman he had mentored for over a decade had turned into direct competition without a word. Johnny reacted fast and final. Joan was blacklisted from The Tonight Show immediately. No discussion, no farewell appearance, no chance to explain, just silence. Joan tried everything. Letters to his home, calls through friends and industry intermediaries. Johnny refused them all. He never spoke to her again, not even years later, when her Fox show collapsed. Producers knew better than to even mention her name. The ban lasted through Carson's retirement in 1992 and beyond. Years later, Joan admitted publicly that losing Johnny's friendship hurt more than any career failure she ever faced. For Carson, loyalty wasn't optional. She broke the code. And once that line was crossed, there was no way back. If you're liking the video so far, hit that subscribe button down below. You already know it helps more than you think. Now let's move on to the next guest. Fred Rogers was disliked for a completely different reason. Awkwardness, not attitude. His temperament wasn't loud or disruptive. It was too gentle. That calm, peaceful energy worked beautifully for children's television. But on late night, it broke the rhythm completely. Fred's segments moved at a preschool pace. Long pauses, soft audience moments, puppet demonstrations. He'd finish a thought and then, wait, no punchline, no handoff, just silence. Johnny had nowhere to jump in. Producer stopwatches reportedly clocked timing gaps of 20 to 30 seconds. That's an eternity in live television. Dead air filled the room. Nielsen data even recorded a noticeable audience dip during the segment. Johnny, a master of timing and momentum, found himself trapped inside Fred's gentle world. There was no disrespect, no anger, just a total mismatch. Carson later concluded it wasn't personal, it was logistical. Fred belonged on PBS, where patience was a strength. On The Tonight Show, patience killed momentum. Bookings were quietly cut. Staff marked Rogers as a no-go. No drama, just decisions. Then came Charlton Heston. His issue wasn't silence, it was non-stop talking. Heston treated the couch like a podium. Every question turned into a speech. Ask him about stunts or chariots, and he'd launch into multi-minute monologues. During a 1987 appearance, he delivered a 15-minute lecture on the American dream. The laughter density collapsed. Nielsen numbers slid. Johnny tried to jump in, but Heston steamrolled forward, unstoppable. Producers stared at the clock in horror as the segment bled into commercial time. Two legends talking, but no rhythm, no laughs. The laughter sign might as well have gone dark. After taping, Johnny made it clear. "Do not rebook," he told bookers. "I can't get a word in, and the audience tunes out." Heston's gravitas worked in epic films. Late night demanded flow, and without it, even legends stalled. Johnny Carson could not stand guests who monopolized the airtime. For him, it wasn't personal, it was business. The Tonight Show was a precision machine, and anyone who disrupted that balance became a problem fast. That brings us to Orson Welles. Orson's issue wasn't disrespect, it was excess. His grand theatrical personality often rubbed Johnny the wrong way. Though there was mutual respect, Welles treated every answer like a full stage production, complete with dramatic pauses, booming delivery, and sweeping gestures. He'd start answering a simple question, and 20 minutes later, he'd still be mid-story. Tangents piled up, European cinema, Shakespeare, personal debts, old grudges. There was no off switch. During a 1982 appearance, Welles consumed the entire opening segment talking about wine. Not movies, wine. Johnny tried repeatedly to pivot the conversation, but every attempt got steamrolled. Producers flashed signals in panic. Welles leaned back in his chair like royalty, amused, unbothered, and unstoppable. Questions were crushed before they could breathe. Johnny searched the band, the cue cards, anything resembling an escape hatch. There wasn't one. The audience laughed at first, then slowly quieted as they realized this wasn't an interview. It was a takeover. Johnny's smile tightened. His legendary timing became useless against a guest who never paused long enough to be interrupted. Every opening Johnny reached for vanished instantly. For the first time, he felt like a background character on his own stage. After the taping, Carson made the call. "Book him sparingly," he told staff. "He's brilliant, but he thinks he's doing a one-man show." The respect stayed, but so did the caution. Welles appeared again, but always with strict time limits firmly in place. And that's the pattern. Some stars disrespected the format. Others challenged Johnny's authority. A few simply couldn't function inside the machine. Carson's genius was making it all look effortless. But that effort depended on guests who understood the dance. These 10 never learned the steps, or worse, refused to follow them. The result? Quiet banishment from the most powerful desk in television. Johnny never had to explain himself. The silence said everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe to RumorFame, share, and drop a comment below. Let us know which guest shocked you the most. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.